Welcome, welcome, welcome. Blessings, everyone, to this and welcome to this very first The Path to Freedom live stream. This is so exciting. I'm not nervous, but I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to this for so long. And now it's finally here. So yay! Let me see if Instagram is coming online. Oh, we'll see. If you can hear me, I would love to know who you are and where you are. I can't see you, but I can see your chats. So I invite you to just put in the chat who you are and where you are so that I can see you and feel you. All right. It seems as though the Love and Light Store chat is not working right now. But it doesn't matter. It'll come online. Welcome. Once again, I need to catch my breath. I've been holding my breath. But welcome to this live stream, the Path to Freedom live stream, with the intention to be an interactive and a co-creative conversation. I invite us all to have to take part in this conversation about waking up, about the path of freedom, about allowing for greater and greater expressions of who we are to emerge. Because this is why we're here. All of the other good stuff, like earning money, becoming someone in the eyes of the world, getting stuff, getting degrees, getting affirmations and confirmations and accolades and all of that, that's all good and well, but we have not come for any of that. But we've come here to set ourselves free to soar, free to allow for whatever is seeking to emerge within us to emerge. That's why we're here. And so these live streams, they will be every Wednesday. We'll go live every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Swedish time. And the reason why it's Swedish time is because here in Sweden, we have daylight saving time. So twice a year, we move the clock either an hour forward or an hour backward. And for the simplicity of my own sake, it's so much easier for me to say 2 o'clock Swedish time, and then all of you guys get to adjust and figure out what kind of time that is in wherever you are. But here in Sweden, it's 2 o'clock. So every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, we go live. And I invite you to bring your friends and your colleagues if you're at work, and have them participate, have them take part in this wonderful conversation that this is going to be. Because the world needs it more than ever, perhaps. Us waking up, us choosing consciously, not reacting but responding to the world and to circumstances and conditions. The world needs it more than ever. The world is in such turmoil and uproar. So much is going on, so much fear, so much worry, so much anxiety, and people are reacting to whatever they read in the newspaper or hear on the news or see on their social media. So we want to create, and we need, the world needs a sanctuary where we can release and let go of all of that, where we can extricate ourselves from all of that and just, just breathe and just be and just smile. No fear, no worry, no doubt, no anxiety. So it's all beautiful. It's all beautiful. Before we move into the conversation, I always want to start with a brief moment of meditation and a brief moment of prayer. So as to get in the right vibe, to raise our vibration, to release and let go of everything that we may have brought with us into this moment. And so in this moment, wherever you are, I invite us all to just take a deep breath, a deep unifying breath. I invite us to close our eyes. I invite us all to gently, as I like to do, tap between the eyebrows, that we may activate that spiritual eye, the divine eye, which allows us to catch and receive that which cannot be caught or received by our human senses. So we just want to tap there for a while. And also, let's put a smile on our faces. Smiling lets the body know that all is well. It gives the body permission to release good for the body chemicals, oxytocin, endorphins, and you name it. I'm no expert at the biochemistry. So, but it gives the body a good feeling, smiling. And so I invite us to gently place our hands in our lap, perhaps allowing our thumb and middle finger touch. And let's turn our attention within, toward our breath. So to give the breath permission to anchor us, ground us, take us back to the nowness of this moment. And as we use the breath as an anchor, we want to be aware of two things. We want to be aware that the body, with its divine intelligence, knows how to breathe and when to breathe. So we can release and let go of our control and our false need to do the breathing for our bodies. So we surrender to the breath. We surrender to the divine intelligence that breathes when it needs and as much as it needs. And we also want to be aware that as we turn our attention toward our breath, we want to sustain our attention throughout the full breath. And a full breath is, of course, the in-breath. But then we have a slight space in between the in and out breath. So we have the out breath, and then a slightly longer space in between the out breath and the in breath. And these four, the in breath, the space, the out breath, the space, they make up the full breath. So we want to seek to keep our attention on our breath through the full breath, through that circle of life. So taking on the feeling tone that all is well, we give ourselves permission to be still and to be silent. Should our mind drift, let's come back to the breath and begin again. Come back to the breath and begin again. And as I, in a brief moment, move us into prayer, I invite you to remain with your eyes closed, your mind open, available, that you may catch and receive the vibration of this prayer, allowing it to lift you into an even higher frequency. And as we always want to begin in and with gratitude, let me express my gratitude, my utmost gratitude, that you are here, that you are now, for this field, this live stream, and the technology that allows all of this to be. It's amazing how everything works. It just works. And I'm grateful for it, for the simplicity, for the ingenuity of humanity, for humanity's willingness to catch that which is in the invisible, allowing it to take form and shape here in the visible. So I'm grateful for all of this. I'm grateful for this moment, for the peace that is here in this moment. I'm grateful for the joy that is here in this moment, for the love that is here in this moment. I'm grateful for the harmony and the wholeness and the wellness that is here in this moment. I'm simply grateful for this moment. And from this space of gratitude and thanksgiving and appreciation of life, I'm grateful for life, for the gift of life, that we're all awake, aware, and alive. And from this space of gratitude, I know and feel the allness and the goodness and the eternality of spirit. I know and feel that spirit is everywhere, fully present in every being, in every object, in every space and place. And spirit, of course, is infinite love, infinite peace, infinite joy, infinite harmony, infinite abundance, infinite wholeness, infinite intelligence, creativity, bliss. And so all of these are fully present everywhere, in every space and place. Fully present. Because spirit cannot divide itself into parts. It cannot contradict itself. It cannot diminish itself. But wherever spirit is, all of spirit is. And spirit is everywhere. So all of this is everywhere. Right where you are, right where I am. All of the love, all of the peace, all of the harmony, all of the abundance, all of the wholeness is right here where we are in this moment, in this very moment, in every single moment. This I know, this I feel, and I allow it to be. And so this means that as the topic for this live session is claiming the freedom within, what this means is that right where we are, freedom is. Freedom is not out there somewhere, but freedom is right here where we are. As we come back to the nowness of this moment, as we extricate ourselves from the world, from the experiences of fear and worry and doubt, as we allow freedom to flow through us, that's where we find it. We are free beings. We're free beings. All of us, free beings. And in this moment, the shackles that may have imprisoned us in time are now bursting. They are dissolving. They are disintegrating. All of that which no longer serves us, the small and the limited thought patterns, opinions, perceptions, point of views, all of that is dissolving, disintegrating, transmuting into a higher frequency. The frequency of joy, the frequency of love, the frequency of wholeness and harmony and peace and freedom. It is happening now. It is happening now. In this moment, it is happening now, in this moment. I know it, I feel it, I accept it, I give thanks for it, I allow it to be. And so it is. So shall it be. So be it. So it is. So shall it be. So be it. Amen. All right, let's open our eyes. And let's stay here in this high vibration. Let's stay here and let's not ever leave this high vibration. Because what the freedom is. Freedom is not getting what we think we want from the world. Freedom is not having things go our way that we may be happy for a moment. Freedom is not succeeding or making it, quote unquote. But freedom is allowing a sense of peace, a sense of joy, a sense of limitlessness and infiniteness to rise from within us. It is inherent within us. Freedom is inherent within us. A number of years ago, it's quite a lot. It's quite many years now. Perhaps 10, 15 years ago. I watched the movie The Secret. And some of you have probably seen it. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. At the end of that movie, I think it's Neil Donald Walsh who says something to the effect of peace, love, joy, freedom, harmony. That's the meaning of life. Something like that. It's been so many years since I saw the movie, so my memory is probably distorted. But he says something like that. And I remember having such a strong reaction to those words. I enjoyed the movie, the whole movie, but it was those words. It was when he uttered these words that something happened within me. And I remember for about a couple of weeks, I was in my office and I had vowed to myself that I would watch that movie. I've been called from within, from the still small voice, that I needed to, it was time for me to change the trajectory of my life, to change direction of my life. I was living a good life in a way. I had my own business. It was doing good. I was healthy. I was in the eyes of the world, I was doing pretty good, but there was so much struggle and there was so much strife, and I felt as though I was competing with the world. So there was not much peace within me. There was not much freedom. I had an agenda for everything I did. I didn't do it just because I wanted to do it. I did it because I wanted something from the world. So there was no freedom at all. I was not doing what I really wanted to do, but I was doing what I thought I had to do in order to get something from the world, and I was doing what I thought others thought I should do. So there was very little freedom. And so I watched the movie and I heard him say these words: freedom is the meaning of life, pretty much. And I was crying, and I was crying, and I was crying every single day for a couple of weeks. I watched that movie, and every single time I watched it, when it came to that point in the movie, it's right at the end, I was just bawling. I was crying so much because there was such sadness within me when I realized that I was not. I had thought of myself as being a free being. I had thought of myself as making conscious choices and enjoying the freedom to make the choices I wanted to make. But I realized that that was not true. I was captive. I was um, under the aegis of the ego and of fear. Fear above all. Fear of not being enough. Fear of not having enough. And so I cried and I cried and I cried. And at the end of those 2 weeks, I began to set an intention. And I set the intention. I didn't know that was I didn't know that was what I was doing at the time, setting an intention. But something within me told me that I needed to seek freedom. I needed to begin to search for freedom. I didn't know what freedom was at the time. So that was the first step for me to begin to define. And please, I forgot to mention that if you have any comments, as this is not about me talking. I do enough of that in other through other channels and other media. But I would love for this to be a conversation where we all get to participate. So if you have a comment or if you have a question or something else, please put it in the chat. Let me know so that we can be co-creators of this experience and of this field. And so I have a couple of, from time to time I'll be going through a mental note to myself to the next live stream next Wednesday that I need to somehow coordinate the various apps that I'm using to live stream so that I can view it all. We're live on Facebook on a couple of pages. We're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. And for all of this to work, there are probably other ways to do it, but but I have not found them yet. So I'm looking forward to Spirit guiding me to more to greater overview because now I need to sort of swap between 3 different apps to see you guys and to hear you guys. And that's even more important, that I hear you, because I want you to participate. I want your voice to be heard. This is not a lecture. This is a conversation, a dialogue. But anyways, so the first step for me And until I hear something from you, I'll just keep on talking. I'm having so much fun. I'm absolutely loving this. I'm loving the technology that allows this to be. Had this been, I don't know, when all of these third party integrations and all of that, I don't know when they sprung into being, but let's say 10 years ago, had this been 10 years ago, this would not have been able or possible. This would not have been possible to make happen. But here we are. And it is possible and it is happening. So it's beautiful. Going back to the couch. So I was on the couch, and something within me told me that I needed to have my life be about freedom. So the first step for me, what intuitively came to me, was that I needed to define freedom. If my life is going to be about freedom, but I don't know what freedom is, I need to define it. And so the definition, and it took a number of days, perhaps even a week, to get an initial definition of what freedom is. And I think I defined it somewhere along the lines of the freedom to follow our hearts, or to follow my heart, regardless of other individuals and outer circumstances. Something like that. That was how I defined freedom back then. This is 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago. And ever since, I've been on this path of freedom, and I've come to the ever expanding realization that freedom is nothing that the world can give us. But freedom is inherent. Look at nature. Like, I mean, I've got a plant here, and I'm looking out my office window, and there are fields, and there are trees, and there's grass. And all of nature is in a total state of freedom and bliss. They're not conscious in the way that we are, but they still enjoy it. It still enjoys the freedom. But it's not getting the freedom from the world any more than I like to use this analogy. Not necessarily when I'm speaking about freedom, but when I'm speaking about and talking about manifestation and how things come into being, that everything emerges. And obviously it applies to freedom as well. And all of these divine qualities that I was speaking in the prayer, that came through me in the prayer, all of these are inherent within us. They're right here within our consciousness, within the truth and essence of our being. All of these qualities are. And so imagine for a moment an apple tree, or actually an apple seed. Within the seed, inherently, everything that the full potential of the apple tree is, it is within the seed. So nothing, and obviously we plant the seed, or the seed falls to the ground, and it begins to root and shoot, and it begins to grow, and it takes a period of time before it breaks the surface, and then it begins to not sprout, but to grow and thrive, and it begins to grow branches, many branches, even more branches, and on these branches, at least during the summer, at least here in Sweden, where during the winter, most of the trees are barren. They're just branches looking like ghosts. But in the summer, it's all green. And so on these branches, the leaves spring into being. And then when the tree has matured enough, the apples spring into being. But none of this, not the branches, not the leaves, not the apples, are coming from the world, but everything emerges from within the seed. This tiny, tiny, tiny little seed has the full potential and the highest vision of the fully grown tree. And so it is with us. As humans, as we may perceive ourselves to be, but we are not only humans, we're divine beings. We and God are one. We in spirit are one. We are unique and perfect emanations of spirit. We're spirit expressing itself in us and through us in a beautiful and magnificent and powerful way. And so everything that spirit is, we are. Everything that spirit is, we are. So it's already encoded within us. The freedom that we all seek. Everyone wants to be free. The love that we all want to experience. Everyone wants to experience love. And the joy. Everyone wants to be in joy. Now, people may not realize that that is what they want. And some may be may have been so hurt by other individuals that they have been sort of disconnected from the innate desire to be free, the innate desire to be love, and the soul's yearning to be free, and our hearts wanting to be in harmony and wholeness. But regardless of whether we are aware of it or not, regardless of whether we are in touch with it or not, every being wants to be free. And this freedom is inherent. It's right within us. It is not somewhere in the world. And then we have time. And time is such a trickster. And then we have the ego. And these are very intimately connected. But then we have time, which is a construct for us to measure our experiences and for us to measure distance as well. And us humans have the tendency to move through the three different tenses of time. We've got the past and we've got the present moment, which is not the same as the nowness of this moment necessarily. And then we have the future. And most of us humans move back and forth. Past, present, future. Future, present, past. And most of us predominantly live somewhere in one of these three tenses. But as we get caught up in time, as we get caught up in the past or in the future, perhaps dwelling on past wrongs or what another individual did or did not do in the past, in a past moment, or perhaps being anxious, like what is going on so much right now on the planet with this pandemic, the COVID, where there's so much fear, ultimately fear of dying and fear of death. And so as we, let me just get some water, or actually some tea. But as we get caught up in time, we lose the nowness of this moment. We get pulled away from the nowness of this moment. And as it is in the nowness of this moment that all of the peace and the freedom and joy and love is, we lose that connection. And so much of the work that we need to do, that we're called to do, to reconnect with these qualities that are inherent within us, is that we need to disconnect. We need to disconnect to reconnect. Disconnect from social media, disconnect from corporate media, disconnect from newspapers and news on the TV that are constantly broadcasting what to be afraid of and what to fear and how dangerous this is and how dangerous that is. Like I'm kind of amused by reading the tabloids. As I enter into stores, there's always tabloids, newspapers on display in the front page and the headlines. And much more often than not, the headlines are about how something is dangerous to us, how we need to stay away from this, how we need to stay away from that, how easy it is to catch this disease or that disease. They are constantly broadcasting what to be afraid of. So we need to disconnect from all of that. Come back to the nowness of this moment, like we did just entering into this live stream where we had a meditation. We're coming back to the breath. We don't necessarily need to move into formal meditation, but we can simply breathe, come back to the breath. The breath is always with us. So whenever we have we, we have the breath. For as long as we're alive here on this planet, we have the breath to come back to. A couple of conscious full breaths. Even one full breath is all it takes to come back to the nowness of this moment, to break free from time and from all of the stuff that is happening in the world. I was working with a client earlier today, and we were talking about the art of surrendering, the art and practice of surrendering. And she expressed that she had a hard time letting go of control. She had this need to control pretty much everything. She was not always aware that she was seeking to control, but she had to always know how things are going to work out or how things are going to come into fruition. And unless she knew how, she could not be at ease. She could not be in peace. That's her perception, obviously, but that's how she described it. So what we came to talk about is willingness. And I shared with her that we need to be willing. In her case, she needs to be willing to release and let go of the need to control. And we need to be willing with regards to this topic and the claiming the freedom within. We need to be willing to do the work necessary, which may mean that we need to exchange our old habits, our old ways of doing things, like watching the news every day. And some probably even watch the news a number of times each day. We all, as we tune in, as we become willing, the Spirit will always guide and lead and move us to where we want to where we need to go, to what we're called to do. But we need to be willing. Willingness is such a major key to find to anything in life. We need to be willing, which is not the same as knowing how. When we become willing, when we set an intention to allow for greater freedom to emerge, for greater peace to flow through us, for harmony to reign supreme, when we set that intention, Spirit will guide and lead us in a language and in a way that we can understand. Spirit will absolutely lead us in a language and in a way that we can understand. Because it is the will of Spirit that we all become free. It is the will of Spirit that we all be in peace. Because ultimately, the will of God is for all life, that is you and me, and every single being, for all of life to come into greater and grander expressions of itself. Because it is in, as, and through all of life that Spirit gets to come into greater and grander expressions of itself. And that is why Spirit created life in the first place. That's the purpose of all of creation, for Spirit to come into greater and grander expression of itself. And so when we're willing to grow, when we're willing to expand, when we are willing to unfold, my God and my God, are we supported? Are we sourced, fueled, and funded? Yes, we are. Are we sustained and maintained? Yes, we are. Will we be guided and moved and led to where we need to go, to what we're called to do? Yes, we are. This path of freedom, I love it. I've been on it for 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 years. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm not always enjoying what Spirit guides me to do. Like right before this live stream, this is the first time. No, it's not. Been out speaking and stuff before, but it's been a while since. But this is the first time, and this is the first time that I actually do it in English. As a speaker, I mostly speak in Swedish. But right before this went live, I didn't really want to do it. I was kind of hoping that it wasn't going to work. But it worked, and here we are, and I love it. Any of you out there have anything to say? No comments? No questions? Nope. Let me just Mm. The thing about live streaming is that things happen. I just realized that the linked the Instagram live had for some reason ended itself. So we're not live on Instagram right now. That's cool though. All is well. Before we end, or I want to end pretty much the same way we started, with anchoring ourselves in the nowness of this moment, raising our vibration even higher, expanding our consciousness even more. So we're not going to move into meditation, but we are going to move into a blessing. So I invite you, you don't have to, but I invite you to close your eyes, to be open and available, to allow the sound of my voice and the words flowing through me to lift you into an even higher vibration, an even higher frequency. Once again, we begin in and with gratitude. So I'm grateful, I'm grateful, I'm grateful for this space. And I'm grateful to have had the first session underway. I'm grateful to be started, to be on my way forward and upward. And I'm grateful for your participation in this. You who are out there, either live or tuning in at a later moment, I'm grateful for your participation, for your having said yes to tune in, to awake, to break free from the small and limited, to allow for the expanded to emerge, for transformation to take place, for freedom to guide and lead and move you. I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for our joint co-creation of this space in this field that we are in right now. And I am grateful because I know that right in this moment, right now, in this very, very, very moment, something wonderful is happening. Everything is working for our good, individually and collectively. It cannot be any other way because God is good. Spirit is good. The goodness of Spirit is infinite, boundless, limitless. So right here where we are, where you are, where I am, everything is working for our good. And from this moment on, as we have participated, as we have joined in this space, and as we are willing, our lives will never be the same again. Something has shifted. Something is shifting within us. Our consciousness is expanding. Something greater and greater is emerging, coming forth. So we're leaving kind of like the caterpillar who goes into the metamorphosis and emerges as a butterfly. Our old version, our old expression, who we used to be, has now gone into the metamorphosis, into the cocoon, And we are emerging as butterflies. And we will be soaring like we have never soared before. We will be glowing like we have never glowed before. We will be luminous like we have never been before. Clarity, peace, freedom, wholeness, harmony, love, compassion, understanding, forgiveness, kindness, abundance, generosity, creativity. All of these are springing forth in ways beyond anything that we can imagine. And it is all happening now, and now, and now, and now, in this moment, in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. For all of this, I give thanks. And the whole cosmos right now is cheering us on. If cosmos had a human form right now, they'd go whoop, 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 because of our willingness to grow, unfold, transform. And in the mind of God, in the mind of Spirit, it is all done. It is all done. We, through our surrendering, through our willingness, are now allowing for the doneness to emerge in this dimension. I know it, I feel it, I accept it, I give thanks for it, I allow it to be. So it is, and so be it. Amen. All right. Let's open our eyes. Until the next time, which is next Wednesday, which would be the 20th at 2 o'clock Swedish time. I trust that I will see you again. Until then, I bless your day, and I bless your way. Beautiful, radiant, wonderful you. Namaste.